Hey guys, and welcome back. Let's see, where did we leave off? Oh yeah, that's right. So a lot of folks felt that I probably could have gotten these out by sticking something into it and trying to pull it out, or putting something hot into it, letting it, something hot enough to melt through that, letting it harden and then trying to pull it out. Maybe, I don't know. If you guys missed it in the video, these did get hammered in, or maybe I cut that segment out, I'm not sure. I did gently hammer these in. They are in there really tight. I don't think they're coming out. I did think of one way that I could have gotten them out, but I did not have the correct size end mill. Let me show you. So over on the mill, I don't think there's any way we could have clamped this to hold it in place, because that bore goes in with the Z being in this direction. I just don't see how we would have gotten it in there. Maybe we could have gotten it in like this and rotated the head around, but it's quite the chore to rotate the head around on here. And the idea I had was better anyway. I figured we could stack something up on the cross slide to bring that offending piece in there up to the exact same height as the spindle. So this would be, imagine, like a stack up of blocks, wood, whatever. I mean, the setup would not have needed to be that rigid, since this is only plastic. But imagine bolting this down essentially to the cross slide so that it's the same height as the spindle, and having a very small end mill in the spindle of the lathe. So, like 1.5 millimeters, something like that. And then we could just bring the cross slide of the lathe over right into that end mill. Certainly I have drill bits that size, but I don't think a drill bit would have done it. Maybe, since it is plastic, but if I had an end mill that was that small in diameter, I definitely would have at least given that a shot. A couple other folks asked why I didn't just use a dowel pin instead of the filament for this, and maybe. There's that cross section, if you look, is really, really thin. I mean, it barely even works with the filament. So the filament is 1.75 millimeters. These dowels are 2.4 millimeters. So, I mean, that's a sizable difference between those two. I don't think there would have been enough material here to go up to that size. And at least one person said, why do we even need the filament in there? And I don't know, maybe we don't. I just look at this, and this is really thin over here, and we're securing it over here. So I'm looking at the flexibility from this face here to over here, and just thinking we don't want that to creep over time or move as the door opens and closes. I mean, there's a fair amount of flex there. It's pretty thin. I like the idea of having the filament here. I just made a really poor choice. Well, I made two really poor choices. I used old brittle PLA that I had thrown out. Rather than going and getting some fresh material, I dug this out of the garbage because the garbage was closer than walking to get fresh material. So we're going to use PETG. This is the Bamboo Lab PETG HF. This stuff is very flexible. It's not brittle at all. So we'll use this time around. So, all right, let's try this again. All right, that is together. Now, the second mistake I made yesterday was picking this up like this and expecting that to hold it. I was tired. I don't know what I was thinking. Clearly, that was not going to work. So I need to be really careful with this and making sure that I don't try and count on that filament to hold this guy together. All right, so here is all of our plates. I want to make sure that all the holes actually line up on these, and you guys are in my way, so I'm going to move the tripod out of the way. I'm just going to set these all in place and make sure everything lines up. All right, these all line up really well. I did end up swapping the position of two of the corners. There might be some slight irregularities in these prints, so just in case, I did actually number all these. It's really hard to see. I did black Sharpie on the black PLA, but I'll be able to see it at least with the flashlight, and they're only going to need to go on once. They should all be the same. I know they line up in these positions, and I don't want to chance it. So I think the easiest thing to do here is going to be to take these plates off, leave this face down on the workbench, and then set the enclosure down over this, and then reach in through the bottom to install the plates. So let me get you guys in the tripod, see if I can figure out how to both film this and how to get everything into position here. All right, setting the enclosure down on the door frame I think worked out well. That is just sitting nicely in place. This raises up just high enough off the face of the workbench that it takes up any gap between the door and the front face of these panels. So all the weight is actually pressing down onto the door. So this should put us in a good position to put these side pieces on and screw them into place. I've got two lights in here. Problem is, I don't think we're both going to fit in there. I'm going to try and put the tripod off maybe to the side here so you guys can kind of see what I'm doing. But yeah, I'm going to basically be kind of leaning into the enclosure here to put these fasteners in. All right, if you were that guy yelling at your screen that I forgot to press the magnets in, thank you. I heard you. Actually, just pulled this back apart so we don't break it again, and I'm going to go press those magnets in, and then we'll set back up in the same position. These are M3 by 16 screws. I actually linked these in yesterday's video. I'll link these down in the description of this video as well as all the stuff that you need if you want to build one of these. All right, that is every screw in, and it looks good from the inside. So fingers crossed as we flip this guy around that there's no screws poking through and no cracked plastic. I didn't hear any weird noises, so I think we're good. Yeah, that looks good. It looks really good. It's nice and snug on there. Yeah, I think that is looking really good. I don't see any gaps. I don't see any cracks. There's no screw holes poking through, and it looks really clean. So let me go grab the door. All right, so I did make use of all the extra time that I had. Since I was waiting for those prints anyway, I went and I put a bead of black silicone all the way around the frame of this door, the whole thing. So that is really rigidly set in there in place now. It's actually had time to set up, so this should be good to go. Let's get the pins in, let's get it in place. All right, so one of these is going in the top of the frame. Looks good. And then down here at the bottom, we drop one in from the top. That should press into place. We want to push that all the way down. And then from underneath, at our hole in the bottom of the door, we're going to first put the spacer pin. And then we're going to follow that up with our grub screw. And now gravity is fighting us. So let's see if I can hold all these pieces here at once. All right, it is on, and yeah, I guess I'm biased. I did design it and build it, but I am really happy with how that came out. It looks really good. The magnetic latches also work really well. It definitely is not opening on its own, but it's also not super hard to grab. Like it's got maybe, I don't know, maybe 2 pounds of force to pull on that guy. It opens up past the 90-degree mark. So you've got easy access to the inside. Actually, let's move this back over. Let's set it on top of the laser engraver and just see what it looks like. Okay, before I bring that over, there is actually one more thing that I do want to test. Several people, I think it was in the second video, mentioned that I shouldn't just assume that this black coroplast is actually going to stop the laser, that this could actually be transparent to the laser just like that orange acrylic was. Now, I know that sounds really weird since we can't see through this at all. It's clearly like a flat black plastic with corrugation. However, I have actually encountered that. There have been things I've tried to engrave on this machine that no matter how high I set the power and what I set the frequency to, pulse width, whatever, it made no mark at all and was actually heating up the surface down here and in some cases making it shiny. Like the material diffused the laser a little bit, but the energy was just going right through. So we want to make sure that this material is actually stopping that laser energy. So let's take our test piece. So we've got, you guys can see we've got 3 lines in there. I'll set it up so that we would have a 4th line next to those, but I'm going to put this in the way. And let's turn this on and see if we have another mark. All right, I saw some smoke even through the glasses, so yeah. Yeah, it looks like this absorbed the energy. No mark on this side, and yeah, no mark on our material. Well guys, like I already said, I know I'm biased, but I am really happy with how that came out. I don't think there's anything I would change from the functionality of it at this point. I wish I had just used that PETG filament the first time around. That worked out far better than that old brittle PLA, but you know, that's what you get for being in a rush and just not taking the time to think about it and do things right. One mistake I did make that I noticed, there's a little bit of a bulge here. By a little bit, I mean I can just fit my fingernail into it. When I put that caulk in, I must not have had that perfectly straight, or I allowed maybe some of it to squeeze through to the other side. It's not a big deal. You can't even really notice from the inside, but from the outside, I can feel a little bit of a gap. Like I said, I can just squeeze my fingernail into that. Maybe if I get the camera like at that extreme angle, you can kind of see a little bit of a gap there. And that's because I didn't design any. So if we look at the sides, there are these retaining pieces. If I had put a retaining piece down here and a retaining piece up here, that wouldn't have happened, even if I had pushed on it a bit while putting that silicone caulk in like I must have. But I was afraid to do that because I knew it was going to be tricky to slip the panel in already. Like I have the ones in the corners. I don't know, I probably could have gotten away with it. This bezel is pretty flexible, so maybe I'll adjust that in the design, so if anybody else downloads this to do the same door that I did, those pieces will be there and they won't have that same problem. You would have never noticed it walking up to this if I didn't point it out, but I can see it because I know it's there. Okay, so next week we will do all the other things that need to break through the coroplast on this machine. I think I'm going to have a piece up here in the front that lets me get to the buttons on the front of the machine, and also will be an air intake, because the air intake for the laser module itself is right there, and we're going to need to get air into this enclosure anyway for fume extraction. The fume extraction port is either going to be over there or in the back, not sure yet, and we're going to need some sort of sliding door or something in the back as well to be able to get the cables in, because on the back of this, I unplugged them when I set this down over top of it, but there is the power inlet and the USB out over to the laptop. So we'll have to figure both of those out. And lighting, again, I put 2 flashlights in here just so we can kind of see inside the case. We're gonna need to figure out some kind of lights in here. Maybe we just do those adhesive LED strips up on the inside of the top of this, and then just poke some wires out and have like a USB power supply. I don't know, I'll look and see what's available. All right guys, again, sorry this ended up being 2 videos to get this done, but hopefully that was worth it. I am really happy with how that came out, and next week we'll get this wrapped up. As always guys, thanks for hanging out in the shop with me for finishing this out, and if this is your first time here on the channel, it's all functional stuff like this enclosure or just other stuff out here in the shop, out in the yard, around the house. If you're into that sort of stuff, check out the rest of this build series, check out the rest of the other videos on the channel, and if you like what you see, hit the subscribe button. Guys, if you do, I'll see you next Friday.